My name is Flygon HG, and you may know me, but you don't know my story. When I was a baby, my parents abandoned me. They left me on the doorsteps of an orphanage in the middle of the night. A few years went by, and I was adopted by a nice couple. When I was a little bit older, they told me about my birth parents. They said that they were founding members of Team Aqua and Team Magma, and fearing what their loyalty to rival teams would do to me, they decided that it'd be best to give me up. I became obsessed with finding out the identity of my biological parents. When I was old enough to become a Pokemon trainer, I was told that they had each left me with a Pokeball. Inside one was Archie the Carvana. Inside the other, Maxie the Numel. If I chose Archie, I could join Team Aqua, and if I chose Maxie, I could become a member of Team Magma. They were giving me the chance to reconnect with my past, but only part of it. Choosing one would inherently require rejecting the other, and I wasn't ready to throw away half of my identity. At least not yet. Instead, I decided to embark on an adventure with Archie and Maxie. Along the way, I'd use Pokemon from both Team Aqua and Team Magma and hopefully find the clarity I needed to make my decision. With the blessing of my adopted mother, I was off to challenge the Pokemon League and uncover the truth about my biological parents. As soon as I leave Little Root, I catch a Poochyena named Courtney from Route 201. She's the only potential teammate before the first gym, but I do need to stop in Petalburg City and tell Norman, my adopted dad, about my decision. Growing up, there was always a distance between Norman and I. We bonded over Pokemon battles, but I was never really able to connect with him in the way I wanted. And it didn't help that he was always working. Never there. When I meet my real dad, there won't be that same tension. I just know it. Archie, Maxie, Courtney, and I make our way to the Petalburg Woods, where I run into the Team Aqua Grunt harassing a Devincore employee. Not a great look, but I know Team Aqua is trying to make the world a better place, so maybe the ends justify the means here? I don't know. Regardless, Maxie makes quick work of his Poochyena. Roxanne is the first gym leader, and you'd think that with a ground type and a water type at my disposal, we'd have no problem taking out her rock types. But Maxie doesn't learn a ground type move until after the level cap, and Archie doesn't learn a water type move ever. How this guy is the mascot of Team Aqua is beyond me. Fortunately, by killing a small town's worth of Ralts, I can give Archie enough special attack EVs for Bite to be a one-shot into Roxanne's low-level Geodudes. After the first one goes down, Archie gets to level 16, which is fine since the level cap ends at the start of the battle. We're gonna need all the help we can get against Roxanne's ace Nosepass, who is far bulkier than her Geodude. Okay, well, a critical hit right off the bat helps out a ton, and so too does Roxanne going for a Harden instead of a Rock Tomb. We've still got our work cut out for us since she has a few potions, but all we can do is fire off bites and hope that things work out. And they really do because Nosepass misses her first Rock Tomb. So as Roxanne uses her second and final potion, not only do we successfully take out Nosepass, we do it without taking a single tick of HP. Talk about an impressive debut performance from Archie. Is it too early to bust out the blue bandana? Probably, because as soon as I exit the gym, Team Aqua is harassing the same Devincore employee again. At this point, it just seems mean. I decide to intervene, which has me going to Rust Turf Tunnel, where I learn that Team Aqua is not above taking hostages. And not just any hostage, a bird hostage. Where's your humanity, Team Aqua? I'm starting to think they might not be the crowd I want to be associated with, no matter how hard Archie popped off against Roxanne. Well, with the Devin goods recovered, Mr. Stone wants to thank me personally for saving his hapless employee, and after watching someone steal an elderly man's emotional support bird, it's refreshing to see someone act with even an ounce of kindness. Which is why I gladly head to Dewford Town to deliver a letter to Mr. Stone's son, Steven. He doesn't know how lucky he has it. A dad who cares? A dad who wants to spend time with him? I hope he doesn't take that for granted. On the way out, I catch a Zubat named Matt, adding a fourth Pokemon to the team. But unfortunately, much to my surprise, Matt doesn't learn a flying type attack until level 21, so even with the quad resistance, Brawly's fighting types are gonna be pretty tricky. Before taking him on, I head to Slateport City and beeline to the museum, where I run into the Aqua Grunt I defeated in Rust Turf Tunnel. In a refreshing twist, he apologizes and gives me the TM for Thief. Pretty ironic, but it's nice to see that even members of Team Aqua are willing to own up to their mistakes. Back in Dewford Town against Brawly, I lead with Maxi. 2 Embers are enough to get the KO on his lead Machop, and Karate Chop doesn't do that much in return. Metatite comes out second, but as long as I do damage, he can't get off a Focus Punch. So Brawly quickly finds himself left with his final Pokemon, Makuhita. I start going for Growls to lower Makuhita's attack, who switches between attacking and going for Bulk Up. After a few turns, I decide that I've risked enough crits with Maxi, so I bring in Matt, who eats Makuhita's attacks like a champ, and immediately uses Thief to steal his held Citrus Berry. From here, I slowly start chipping away with Bite. We're doing more damage than our rotund enemy is doing to us, but only marginally, and Brawly has 2 super potions to burn. But thanks to the stolen Citrus Berry and a few flinches, we managed to come out on top and snag the 2nd gym badge. Great job, Maddie, I'm so proud of you. Which means that it's time to head back to Slateport City and figure out what Team Aqua was doing at the Oceanic Museum. And just listen to that music. The Emerald soundtrack is filled with absolute bangers, and a great way to jam out to the sounds of Hoenn is with the sponsor of this video, Raycon, a wireless audio company that delivers premium quality audio with affordable products like the everyday earbuds, the perfect gift for any audio lover. I use my everyday earbuds literally every day when I'm walking Poppy, and they fit snugly in my ears, meaning they don't fall out when I'm running. With 32 hours of battery life and a convenient charging capsule that tells you how much juice your little fellas have left, you don't have to worry about your earbuds unexpectedly dying and leaving you to sit all alone with nothing but your own terrifying internal monologue. Take me away, Accumula Town theme. Raycon also offers other premium tech products at a great price through their new Raycon Home and Raycon PowerTech lines, which are great for last-minute holiday gifts and stocking stuffers, especially with free returns, free shipping, and buy now pay later options. Plus, Raycon is offering limited time bundles on some of their best-selling products, like the Everyday Audio Kit that will get you everyday earbuds and headphones. So this holiday season, get premium audio and power tech at a great price, and save even more doing it, because you can go to buyraycon.com/Flygon right now to get 15% off site-wide. Thanks so much to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the challenge. It turns out that Team Aqua is still after the Devon goods, and we're plotting an ambush to get them, though it's nothing my team can't handle. But just as I expect the bumbling grunts to run away, who should appear but Archie, the leader of Team Aqua himself. He proclaims a love for the sea, which I can absolutely get behind. The sea is pretty rad. Archie seems to think that I'm a member of Team Aqua, and he appears pretty upset about it, until he quickly realizes his mistake. But for a moment, he was genuinely concerned. There was a panicked look on his face, the same one I saw on my adopted mother's face when I had that brief phase where I wanted to be a DJ in Castelia City. Does Archie know who I am? Could Archie be my father? If he is, he's keeping it to himself, at least for now. But what if? What if I'm the son of the leader of Team Aqua? That would change everything. I have to learn more. For now, though, I make my way to Mauville City to face off against Watson and his electric types. And despite Matt evolving into a powerful Crobat, this fight is all up to Maxi the Little Numel. He's got the highly volatile move Magnitude, which means that his life is in the fickle hands of Lady Luck. Watson's lead Voltorb immediately misses a rollout, and then Maxi shows that he's here to kick ass and take names. A Magnitude 7 sends Voltorb to their grave and brings Electrike out next. Quick Attack does a bit of chip to our fearless warrior, as a Magnitude 5 leaves Electrike with a sliver. Though this works out in our favor, since Watson burns a super potion, and then we get the overkill KO with a Magnitude 8 on the following turn. Next comes Magneton, who immediately throws Maxi for a loop by hitting a Supersonic. But we train for this. Maxi, trust your gut. Remember who you are, my sweet prince. Maxi successfully breaks through confusion and takes his 3rd KO with another Magnitude 7, which just leaves Manectric. So I decide to switch to Courtney to remove Maxi's confusion and get off an Intimidate, which cancels out Manectric's attack boost from Howl. He goes for a 2nd Howl as I nail him with a Sand Attack to lower his accuracy. Then it's back to Maxi on another Howl, meaning that we're facing down a +2 Manectric. Fearing a massive Quick Attack that will kill Maxi with a crit, I switch to Courtney, but my passive play is punished as Manectric goes for another Howl. This means I have to switch back to Maxi on yet another Howl, so Manectric is at +3 attack. That last switch out was a massive misplay. I stay in as Manectric gets to +4 attack with even another howl, and then Maxie fires off a magnitude 6, which isn't enough for a one-shot. And thanks to the Citrus Berry, we're gonna need a magnitude 7 or better to get the KO. The good news is that Manectric doesn't crit his quick attack here, so Maxie lives, but fires off a weak magnitude 5. This is starting to look pretty bad. Although it would make my decision much easier, I'm not ready to say goodbye to Maxie. I switch to Courtney to get off an Intimidate as Watson heals. I didn't think he was in healing range, but evidently he was. A switch back to Maxie means Manectric gets off another howl. So it's back to Courtney. I can already hear the YouTube comments telling me to stop switching and just attack, but my goal is to get out of this without losing my baby boy. So damn it, I'm gonna play to my outs. Maxie is coming home and it won't be in a box. With Courtney having taken some damage, this finally baits Manectric into using Shockwave, granting me the safe switch. And then it's back to Courtney to bring our foe down to +2 attack. One more switch cycle brings Manectric down to +1, which should now ensure that Maxie survives a non-critical hit, giving us the chance to fire off a single magnitude. Quick attack comes out, leaves Maxie with 9 HP, and then he fires off a massive magnitude 8, killing the dangerous Manectric and clutching out a win against Watson. While it may not have been as flawless as Archie's sweep against Roxanne, that was still a hell of a performance from our little cow. And with the 3rd gym badge obtained, we're free to head north of Mauville City, where I catch a Grimer named Amber and a Coughing named Blaze. Both of these guys are pretty uncommon in Hoenn, so I'm excited to see what they can do, especially in the late game when water types start becoming more prevalent and their access to a range of different TMs becomes a massive benefit. And we've also now got a full team of 6. Norman used to tell me all about how being a Pokemon trainer was about bonding with your team, and as I explore the far reaches of Hoenn, I finally understand what he meant. The friendships forged from joint struggles are stronger than steel. For the first time in my life, I feel like I belong here, like I was born to be a Pokemon trainer. Each step I take makes it harder and harder to imagine saying goodbye to some of my friends when I ultimately make the decision of which team I'll join. After all, if I join Team Aqua, I'll have to release Maxie and Blaze. That'll hurt for sure, but learning about my birth parents, that's more important, right? In Meteor Falls, I run into Team Magma, and conveniently, Archie is there to get me out of trouble. He explains that Team Magma wants to expand the landmass and is fine destroying things to do it. As he leaves to pursue Team Magma, I can't help but feel like this man is indeed my father. Why else pay so much attention to me? Why would Archie tell me all of this if not to bond with his own son? It's obvious that Archie wants me to help him stop Team Magma, so that's what we'll do. And once they've been defeated, I'll confront him. I'll tell him I know the truth and finally meet my dad. Of course, that does still leave my birth mother. Who is she? Is she just a low-level Team Magma grunt? Or could she be the infamous admin Courtney? I have so many questions, but right now, I have to stop Team Magma. On top of Mount Chimney, I finally meet Maxie. And again, just for a moment, I see that same look I saw in Archie. That knowing glance you don't give when meeting a stranger for the first time. Somehow, Maxie recognizes me. That much I know. Is it because he knew my mother? Or were my suspicions about Archie wrong, and in fact, Maxie is my dad? There's no time to ask though, because before I can utter out a sentence, we're in the midst of battle. Mighty Anna versus Mighty Anna. But with accuracy drops from Smokescreen and Sand Attack, Courtney is able to set up a few howls. Thanks for the strat, Watson. This means we can swiftly one-shot all 3 of Maxie's Pokemon with a single secret power apiece, decisively winning us the battle against my potential father. Team Magma has been stopped, but I'm still no closer to learning the identity of my parents because Maxie is gone in a flash. So my next stop is the Lava Ridge Gym to face off against Flannery and her fire types. Her Torkoal is so powerful that it's wise to set up on one of her weaker mons to prepare for a one-hit KO. My only way to boost our attack is with Courtney's Howl, so that's the plan. First, Archie takes out Flannery's lead Numel with a Crunch. Given the abysmal state of Gen 3 level up movesets, it's absolutely wild that Carvana can learn Crunch so early. That brings in Slugma, who is easily Flannery's weakest Pokemon. I switch to Blaze as she sets up a Sunny Day. And then we can nail Slugma with a Smokescreen to lower her accuracy. The idea here is to get her to use up all 5 of her Overheat PP. But Slugma connects with her first one, and in the sun, it proves to be more than enough to kill Blaze from full HP. There's no other way to put this. I let my teammates down. I should have known that Blaze wasn't strong enough to tank and overheat in the sun, but I was so preoccupied with my own selfish interests that I neglected my teams. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. My birth parents abandoned me and Norman was never around, so how could I expect to be any better? Blaze's death is a wake-up call, a reminder that our journey has consequences, and that my personal quest for self-discovery cannot come at the expense of my friends. It won't happen again. Amber comes in and uses Minimize to stall out the rest of Slugma's overheat PP, so after setting up 6 Howls, Courtney is free to sweep through the rest of Flannery's team with Secret Power and Dig. Poison damage from Smog made things tighter than I would have liked, but nevertheless, victory is ours. After bidding our final farewells to Blaze, I head to the desert on Route 111 and catch a Baltoy named Tabitha. They won't be doing much now, but in a few levels when they evolve into Claydol, they'll be able to pack quite the punch. And speaking of, Archie evolves into the monstrous Sharpedo. We've got one more gym fight before he can begin the classic late-game Sharpedo slaughter, and it happens to be against Norman. And one thing I know about Norman is that he takes his job very seriously, so he won't be holding back. I lead with Archie, who takes the KO against Spinda with a few crunches. Burning a Hyper Potion here is great because it means that there's one less to deal with when facing off against Slacking, who's next. Courtney outspeeds and knows Dig, which we can use to play around our enemy's Truant ability. The only issue is bringing her in safely. Someone needs to tank a Facade so that she can come in on a loafing turn. No one's bulky enough to survive a crit, but I bring in Amber and hope for the best. Once again, I'm left to mourn the loss of one of my teammates, but this time I don't blame myself. I don't feel guilt or shame. All I feel is anger. Anger at my adopted dad for killing my friend. Where was he when I needed a father figure growing up? Why was he always busy, always at work when I needed him? He's gone for so much, but of course this he's here for? I know it's unfair to ask for special treatment as the gym leader's son, but I don't know, I guess I thought he would draw the line at killing my friend. I figured that he owed me at least that much. Courtney is free to set up a Howl on Slacking's loafing turn, and then by using Dig to avoid getting hit, we can take him down without any problem. Vigoroth and Lanoon fall to 2 returns apiece, so just a few turns later, Norman is defeated, and I've won the 5th gym badge. Just like before, our fallen friend opens up a spot on the team, and with access to the Good Rod, I can now catch a Whalmer named Shelly. With a quiet nature, she'll hit our enemies hard, but I'll need to give her a lot of speed EVs if we want to outspeed anything. At the Weather Institute on Route 119, I face off against Shelly, but I'm still not over what Norman did. Maybe Shelly's my mom, but right now, I don't care. I just want to take out my anger. And Winona is the perfect target. Her birds don't stand a chance against my powerful shark. Channeling my rage, I instruct Archie to ruthlessly fire off ice beams for the one-shot into Swablu and Tropius. A few crunches take out Pelipper, 2 surfs take out Skarmory, and a final ice beam finishes off Altaria, winning us gym badge number 6. With a cathartic sweep under my belt, I am feeling a bit better. As Tabitha evolves into Claydol, I decide that it's time to move on. I can't ever change what Norman did, but when I meet my birth parents, I'll never need to see him again. At Mount Pyre, Archie once again slips away before I get the chance to talk to him. But I am given a Magma emblem, which means I can head to the Magma hideout and confront Maxie. He's not here to discuss my bloodline, though. My potential family drama quickly becomes small potatoes as Maxie awakens the super ancient legendary Pokémon Groudon. This is really bad. After swiftly beating his 3 Pokemon, I head to Slateport City, but once again, Archie evades conversation. So I track him all the way to the Aqua hideout off the coast of Lily Cove City. But thanks to Meathead Matt, God I hope he isn't my dad, Archie sneaks off again, this time to the bottom of the freaking ocean. Which means I need to get the 7th gym badge from Tate and Liza so I can use Dive. The good news is that Shelly has evolved into Wailord, so along with Archie, we can cut through their 4 Pokemon without taking a single tick of damage. After one last battle against Maxie at the Moss Deep Space Center, he realizes his misguided attempt to control Groudon. If it weren't for the pressing issue of stopping Archie from doing the exact same thing with Kyogre, this would be the perfect time to ask him all my questions. But the fate of the world is far more important. In the seafloor cavern, I finally catch up to Archie. He's a different man than the one I met in Slateport City. That knowing look in his eye is gone, and instead it's been replaced by a fiery rage, not unlike my own after losing Amber. Archie makes it clear that he means to make me disappear so that he can get what he wants. And in that moment, I've never been more confident that this man is my father. Surely it's that same fanaticism that allowed him to abandon me as a baby. I just know it. But one thing I didn't get from Archie is my battle skills because we crush his team like a bedridden grape. It doesn't matter though because Numbnut still manages to awaken Kyogre, sending the Hoenn region to the brink of geoclimatic disaster. Groudon and Kyogre are at war, and the only way to stop them is to awaken Rayquaza, which obviously falls on my tiny shoulders for some reason. But as Rayquaza descends upon Sootopolis City, the biblical storm ends almost as fast as it started, bringing peace to the region once again. So at long last, Maxie and Archie are together and I can confront them. I am one conversation away from learning the truth about my parents. Though after watching both these grown men almost single-handedly destroy the world, my best hope is that neither of them are my parents. Regardless, I'm sure they'll know something. Anything to relieve me of this burden. But I can't deny that I'm scared to finally be getting some answers. I reach for the 2 Pokeballs given to me at the start of my journey. If one of them is indeed my father, then surely they'll want to see the Pokemon that they left for me. My hands are so shaky from the nerves that I end up dropping Maxie's Pokeball, and as I reach down to get it, my eye picks up something I've never noticed before. A small etching at the base of Maxie's Pokeball, just barely legible, that says, "Property of the Petalburg Gym." This Pokeball wasn't from my birth parents. It was from Norman. My biological parents didn't leave me Archie and Maxie. They were gifts from my adopted parents. I was lied to, but why? I had to go home and find out the truth. When I walked through the door, my mom took one look at me and burst into tears. And then she told me everything. She told me that my birth parents had left me with nothing, that they didn't leave me because they were worried about me. They abandoned me because they cared more about their misguided missions. And when I became obsessed with knowing their identity, it hurt my adopted parents. They felt like they weren't enough. For years, Norman poured himself into his work, reasoning that if he became some hotshot gym leader, maybe I'd be proud enough of my adopted parents that I would forget about the ones that left me. But when it became clear that I never would, he decided to catch Archie and Maxie, disguising them as gifts left by my birth parents. Norman thought that if I went on my own adventure, forged my own path as a Pokemon trainer, and saw what Team Aqua and Team Magma really were, that maybe the truth about my real parents, that they were selfish and wanted nothing to do with me, would be easier to stomach. As my mom finished saying her piece, I sat in silence, and suddenly, like a wave, memories of my childhood came flashing back. Saturday morning, sitting in my father's lap, watching championship battles on the TV as he taught me everything he knew about Pokemon. Weeknights, coming back from trainer school to a home-cooked meal made by my mom after her own long day. Had I ever told them how thankful I was for what they did for me? How they brought me home from that orphanage and gave me a family? I have spent so long looking for the family that didn't want me that I never appreciated the one I already had. Maybe Norman wasn't around much, but obviously everything he did for me. Archie might be my biological father, and maybe I inherited his rage, but he's not the one who raised me, who made me a Pokemon trainer. He's not the reason I'm standing where I am today, surrounded by teammates who are willing to fight with me to the very end. So it doesn't matter who my birth parents are, because I already have 2 of the best damn parents in the world. And it's for them, not my biological parents, that I'm going to become champion of the Pokemon League. That starts by getting the 8th and final gym badge from Juan in Sootopolis. His double teaming Kingdra is always a nightmare to face, so my hope is to set up enough howls with Courtney against his Love Disc so that we can get a clean sweep. Unfortunately, we can only get off 2 before Love Disc threatens with a Sweet Kiss that next time won't be healed by a held Personberry, so a +2 return gets the KO on Juan's weakest Pokemon. Fortunately, +2 returns are enough to kill Whiscash, especially with a crit, Celio, and Crawdont, so the only thing we have to worry about is that pesky Kingdra. A single return does great damage, but as a double team comes out, it means we gotta get lucky. Courtney, this can either be really easy or really difficult. You can do this. Thankfully, Courtney is a bit more cooperative than some other dogs who will remain nameless. So just like that, we've defeated Juan and earned the right to challenge the Pokemon League. Since I only have 6 Pokemon, my final team shouldn't be too surprising. We've already been through so much together. Archie's multiple sweeps, Matt's grueling fight against Makuhita, Maxie's clutch survival against Manectric, and Courtney's hard-earned victories over Torkoal and Slaking. No matter what happens against the Elite Four, every single one of them is a champion in my book. So for one last time, let's give it our all. I'm not even going to pretend that Sydney or Phoebe are anything other than a formality. At this point, you can probably guess that Archie the Sharpedo tears apart their teams without so much as breaking a sweat. Glacia, on the other hand, is really tricky. Walrein is a beast, especially since half my team takes super effective damage from her stab attacks, and even my water types match up very poorly against her since they're both fairly flimsy and don't have a great way to deal big damage to the uber bulky C-Pup. So my solution to this fight is pretty lame, I'll be the first to admit it, but I'm not sure what else I could do here. Against Glacia's lead Celio, I lead with Tabitha, who proceeds to spam Mud Slap to lower our enemy's accuracy. Celio opts to set up Hail and then go for Ice Ball. With the progressive accuracy drops, Protect, and a held Citrus Berry, Tabitha is able to safely bring Celio all the way down to -6, which means I can switch to Courtney and start setting up with Howl. But before that, I set up a substitute, which ensures that I won't get paralyzed from Body Slam or get taken out by a rogue critical hit. Things get a little scary as Celio manages to connect with 2 Ice Balls in a row, but her third graciously misses, ensuring that after another substitute, Courtney can freely get off a few more Howls. At +3, I take the kill with a return, and then proceed to sweep Glacia's entire team, using our held Shell Bell to make sure Hail Chip doesn't take us out. Walrein is bulky enough to survive one return, but with Substitute keeping us safe, a second one gets the KO and wins us the battle against the third member of the Elite Four. The fourth member is Drake, but as usual, he's swept by Archie. One of these days, I'll get punished by a critical hit from Kingdra, the only one of his Pokemon that doesn't get one-shot, but today is not that day. So that means that all we have to do to make it to the Hall of Fame is take down the champion Wallace. But that's no easy task. Water types are really tough for my team to deal with, and unlike Juan, Wallace doesn't lead with one of the weakest Pokemon in the game, so setting up isn't really an option. There aren't any cheeky strategies for this one. It's just gonna require blood, sweat, tears, and blood. Against Wallace's Wailord, I send out Shelly. She's able to outspeed and nail her lookalike with a resisted but still massive Water Spout before tanking a slightly more massive Double Edge. Recoil does a huge chunk to Wailord as well, so on the following turn I go for a rest, which brings Shelly back to full HP. A held Chesto Berry wakes up my massive fish in time to tank yet another Double Edge, bringing our foe down to under 30%, which lets Shelly just barely take the kill with another half-powered Water Spout. That brings in Ludicolo, granting me a fairly safe switch to Matt on a Giga Drain, and then we can take the KO with a super effective Sludge Bomb. Milotic comes in next though, and now we need to dodge the first of a few crits. Sludge Bomb does just about 50% as Milo fires off an Ice Beam that thankfully doesn't crit, which means that after Matt's Citrus Berry activates, I switch back to Shelly on another Ice Beam. But this one does crit. So she doesn't have enough HP to survive another hit, and with a Surf from Wallace's Malevolent Ace, Shelly goes down. The only thing bigger than her was her heart, and she will be sorely missed. This does grant me a safe switch into Courtney, but unfortunately her return comes up just short, letting Milotic get off a recover. He's healing back more HP than we can deal, so I go for a substitute as Milotic gets back to full HP. But this means we can set up a Howl on the following turn before Milotic breaks our sub with a Surf. And with the attack boost, Return is now doing a great amount of damage. But it means that Courtney has to eat a massive Surf. Is this the end of the best girl a guy could ask for? My heart races as her health drops. But she holds on with 8 HP, meaning that even with Citrus Berry recovery, a second return sends Milotic back into his ball and leaves Watson down to his final 3 Pokemon. Tentacruel is next, and I make the risky decision to switch to Maxie on a random move. It happens to be Ice Beam instead of Hydro Pump, so thankfully he lives. And his quad weakness to water-type attacks gives me a safe switch to Archie, though he still takes a significant chunk from Hydro Pump. Nevertheless, with an Earthquake, we get the one-shot on Tentacruel, bringing Whiscash in next. Matt gets the free switch on an Earthquake and starts by hitting our fishy foe with a Toxic as he sets up an Amnesia. With toxic damage, we should be able to get the 2-hit kill here. Aerial Ace does solid damage as Matt manages to dodge yet another crit, this time from a Surf. Then I go for a Fly so that the toxic damage can rack up for an extra turn, letting Matt take his second KO of the fight. Which means that all that's left is Wallace's Gyarados, but we're still not out of the woods yet. We have to be very careful to make sure we don't let him set up with Dragon Dance, which means we need a sacrifice. And we all know who it needs to be, Courtney most of all. One last time, she takes to the battlefield, striking fear into Gyarados' heart with Intimidate, and then a Surf washes her away. With the free switch, I bring in Tabitha, the shyest of our teammates, but their silence shouldn't be mistaken for indifference. If anything, they care most of all. Once a lost soul in the desert, this team became Tabitha's family, and they would happily do anything to see their family flourish, which is why it's sad, beautiful, and tragic that they go for an explosion, instantly killing both Gyarados and themselves, winning us not just the battle against Juan, but the entire run. What started as a journey to discover my past ended up becoming a story of found family and friendship. The lives we lost along the way made the victory all the sweeter, though we will never forget them or what they sacrificed. The thing about life is that it necessitates loss. I thought that the greatest loss of my life was getting abandoned by my birth parents, but it ended up sending me on a journey that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. Thanks for watching.